Hello and welcome to The Truth About Storytelling. This is Tyreen Martinson, author, poet, and podcaster. I love writing and I love so many things about it. But one of the things that I know that I've struggled with in the past is getting all five senses on the page. It can be really difficult. I had a writing class many, many years ago in which the teacher wanted us to write sensory writing. Now, for some reason, half of the class, including myself, thought she meant sensual writing. And I was like, I don't want to write that type of scene. I really wasn't ready to write that type of scene. And anyway, I couldn't even get my characters to be romantic enough to kiss by the end of the scene that they were in. I did include a lot of the five senses because it turned out that one of my characters had an allergy to the flowers that the other character brought her. And so that's how I ended up getting sensory in that scene. Now, when we came back to class and the teacher had all of these stories that were a little more sensual than sensory, she had a good laugh and reassigned us a sensory writing exercise in which we had to get all five senses on the page in only 2 pages that were in a scene. And then she shared an example with us from her own writing in which one of her characters got stuck inside of a well while a killer was on the loose, a serial killer was on the loose outside of the well, and she was hiding inside the well, and you could feel the grittiness of the stone under her fingers, and she could smell the dampness of the water and feel the dampness of the water and smell kind of the mossy smell that was inside the well, and the stone, some of the stones were kind of slippery, and she was scared and cold, and it was dark. And anyway, you get the idea. It's a very sensory scene that the teacher used as an example, but she hadn't used an example before she gave us the assignment. And again, for some reason, half of us heard sensual instead of sensory. And it caused some hilarity. She had a good laugh. We had some fun sharing in that class that day, and it was a good time. But that's my writing prompt for today for everyone who's listening. Write a sensory writing. That came out wrong. Write a scene in which you include all five senses. You really delve into what your character is experiencing in the moment and try not to use the word felt or heard or saw or tasted or smelled. Try to get around those words and yet include all five senses in the scene. See what your character notices and how they notice it, how they experience those senses, and do they mean anything to them in particular? So certain tastes and smells really bring back memories and thoughts for many of us, and we can do that for our characters in our fiction stories too. It can be really great. So for me, as a Christian and as a writer, light is always representative of God. Now, it's not just because the Bible says that, it's because of my own experiences. The day that I was baptized, the sun came out in brilliant glory behind a huge mountain that could be seen through the church window. And the light actually came and was in my eyes in a way that made it hard to look straight at the pastor when he was baptizing me. I was 6.5 years old. And it was this joyous, wonderful experience, but it was definitely filled with just brilliant, bright light. And so for me, again, light is always representative of God and of my experience of having a relationship with God. And so when I write about darkness and light in my fantasy stories, that's always what I mean by it. And I have a hard time using it in any other way in my writing. So think about something like that for you. And also think about if you can get, like, again, all 5 senses going in a scene for your character. And if there's one sense, maybe that's a little bit more meaningful to them, sure, go into it. But try to add in those other 4. I also remember the smell of a burning candle wick the day that I was baptized because the pastor lit a special candle for me. I remember the cool touch of wet water on my forehead. Now I kind of cheated there. I said cool touch. The coolness of damp water traced on my forehead in the shape of a cross. I remember just the sound of the pastor's voice. Again, I use the word sound. This is difficult for me too, especially as I'm kind of winging it as I'm podcasting today. I don't have this all written out in a perfect script. I'm going with my outline of ideas. But hopefully you get the idea of what I mean. Take a scene from your real life or from a fictional moment in your book or a story that you're writing and just expand on those senses, those 5 senses, and see if you can dig deep and really get some character depth out of it too. Not just the senses themselves, but what it means to that character to experience those sensory things in that scene. So that's my kind of my big writing prompt for you. And if that's too much, just pick a sense and dive deep into it. Whether it's auditory, visual, smell, taste, touch, really dive into one of the senses for just a scene or for a moment, a paragraph, a sentence. It doesn't have to be long. Sometimes I think I get excited about writing prompts and I give these really long writing prompts. You don't have to do a really long writing prompt. If you're in a place where life is just wild or busy, take a moment, write a sentence, write a phrase, maybe write a paragraph if you're up for it. Don't push. Give yourself grace. It's always good to remember that if we're writing, hopefully we're doing it because we find some joy in it. Now, that doesn't mean that every moment of writing is joyful, because it's certainly not. We all have to edit or revise or do some tasks that we don't really like to do, and sometimes the words just seem to not be coming at all. But writing is joyful, at least in moments, as we go through our writing lives. And I hope that you can find that too. And again, don't over push if you're feeling like you've hit a wall creatively. Just write a word down, write a sentence down, and try it that way. But those writing prompts are there for you. If you want to use them anytime, you can come back to this episode and try them out, or you can wait for the next one. I'll be having more writing prompts next week. I'm going to have a longer episode on Monday and then a couple of short episodes Wednesday and Friday. So thank you for joining me. I appreciate all of your encouragement and support. This is Tyreen Martinson with The Truth About Storytelling, and you can find more about me at my website, tyreenstales.com, and you can also find more of my work at online bookstores. Again, thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful day.